weeks. I've been in deadline hell. I just completed my fourth of six, but I got my two big deadlines are complete. So now it's just a couple small ones. So I get to work easier now, which is nice.
That
Yeah.
is definitely nice.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about what we talked about just off the air, but other than say you are episode 1024. So, I mean, welcome to the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just released episode 55.
Yeah. I didn't expect to still be doing this at 1024, but here I am.
That is pretty impressive. That just, you blew my mind. I
Yeah.
don't know what else to say.
Well, I have something about like I have approximately 1,400 hours of content on doing this. Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
Well, if do the math on it, right? Let's
Yeah.
say I average an average episode, like taking away my early ones, right? My
Uh-huh.
early ones were probably closer to I was expanding into it, but probably from about say 450 on, my
Uh-huh.
average episode is an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
An average episode. So now some are less. There are some that are less, but some are significantly more too. So it adds up to like a strangely sick number of hours, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like yeah. It's like so you do this long enough, you go through all these iterations of the show, all of
Mhm.
them. And you're like, okay, how can we like make it better? So like there's a barrier point, and it's like I gave him I think episode 440 from the I can't call into detail about this yet. Shit. So, but long story short, I've put out so much content since I went to the Twitch era. Like it was disgusting that, and I know I say it's a good way to look through everything from episode 450 on. You can literally just see the like. There was a point where that's when the show really hit a certain professional peak.
Nice.
Yeah, and the quality of the show by and large has been the same since for like the
Fantastic.
vast majority of it. So that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Like it's a good thing because yes, I can be consistent. It's a bad thing though because now I'm trying to change up the show. So now I'm trying to do an outdoor show. So some of the episode like now that I'm finally the deadline stuff is just like, oh my God, done.
So
Right.
is this a coaching program or what? Because I'm in a podcast coaching program and I'm just like, ooh, that's
No,
fun.
no, no, I've just been doing this thing. This is just me been doing my thing. I accidentally started this podcast.
Me too. I
Yeah.
accidentally started my podcast too.
So how did you accidentally start yours? A little talk.
So, how did I accidentally start my podcast? All right. Well, what happened a little before what led to me accidentally starting it is I had kids
Mhm.
and I slowly and subconsciously lost my identity beyond being a mom, and my anger and my anxiety got really bad, and then I became this person who was like yelling all the time and I couldn't figure out what the hell was happening and got really depressed, et cetera, et cetera. And then I took this amazing 1 week coaching program that was called Find Your Spark. And I was like, yes, I need to find my spark. And at the end of that week long program, it revealed that I'm still a writer. And I thought that I had given up that dream prior to having children. Like, oh, I let that go. That was a pipe dream. But that program, I then wound up joining her coaching program, and it was just about rediscovering me. And so I created my Facebook group, Parents Who Write. And then they was all talking about just, how to reach out to people and doing weekly lives, and going live weekly by myself became overwhelming quickly to just stand there and be like, "Hi, I'm talking to you again about stuff." Like,
Well, it's
um,
hard to do. Like
yeah.
legitimately, it's hard to do because like I'm doing an interview show, right? And the reason I'm doing an interview show is it's easy to bounce stuff off people. Now we can talk about similar things for sure,
Uh-huh.
but it's much easier to bounce off somebody by yourself. Okay, it takes it takes an unbelievable amount of knowledge and passion to do it. Even just week in and week out. Now,
Uh-huh.
could you imagine doing it like I used to do this 5 days a week, like this? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Again, you blow my mind.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was just going weekly by myself,
That's how I
trying to think of
started.
stuff to talk about, and I was like, "This is too hard." So I reached out to other parents in writing groups, and I was like, come join me live and let's just talk about writing and parenting, but mostly writing. And that's how Parents Who Write was born. But I was like, I don't think people are going to sit and watch an hour-long Facebook live video. And then I went, oh, that's what podcasting is. I should turn that into a podcast. And
That's right.
thus, Parents Who Write the Podcast was born.
Okay, so it's 2016, and I finally get myself one of these. A cell phone.
Oh,
I was one of the last people to get a cell phone. Not the last person, but I'm one of the last people, and I'm okay with this. I'm deliberately uncool. But I ended up having this stuff like, okay, fine. I've been interviewing people for 20 years for different things, or here, there, everywhere, right? So I can do a good interview with just about anybody. I'm pretty confident in that, right? And I mean, I'm learning some new skills now because I'm taking the show back on the road, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
cool.
But anyway, I happened to meet a gentleman by the name of Robert Sawyer. Robert Sawyer is an author, and I got this like opportunity to interview him. And we did the interview, and I have phone and recording it on a phone. And he's like, we come out. This was in a conference room. It's like, and he goes and he says, I just got interviewed by Josh for his podcast. I did not have a podcast at the time. I was doing this because this would be easier to transcribe an interview because I actually legitimately don't have to memorize anything anymore. That was the big thing. And I thought something just clicked, like, could I do a podcast? And the answer overwhelmingly is yes. Right.
Yeah.
And I started off weekly, like you did. I ended up going to 2 a week eventually because I've never struggled getting interviews ever. Even now, like, here's the thing. I've been pushing back from doing as many interviews on Twitch because I want to get to the next phase of my journey, which is why I want to take the show on the road.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But you know what? Everybody keeps now. I put a contact form on my website, figuring all my services are up there. Someone will no. The number one thing I get contacted, hey, can I come on your podcast? Like, it's an overwhelming like thing. I'm like, this is awkward. So right. So I've never had an issue getting interviews.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've interviewed all kinds of people. Like I said, if you look at the list of people I've interviewed, it's all over the map. Right. And a really cool list of people too. So I did all this to say that, so I went to 2 a week. The pandemic happened and went to 3 a week. Now the third episode was a reading episode. Oh. I actually did. I started reading my, at that point, novel I had written, kind of like in. I figured. So I'm a big C.S. Lewis guy.
I'm
a big C.S. Lewis guy, and C.S. Lewis did what would become Mere Christianity during the heart of darkness. It wasn't done when it was all lovey-dovey. No, he was talking about this stuff when London was legitimately being bombed. And he would go on the BBC. Now, if you sit there and think about that, it's the most absurd thing ever. Like, why does this matter when you're eating bombs? But that's one side of the equation. The other side is this: no matter what, life goes on.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was actually going out there, like, talking about, reading about the things that would ultimately become Mere Christianity on the air at the heart of the worst moment, one of the worst moments in England's history, at least in the modern history for sure.
Yeah.
And that is a very powerful thing to say. So that's what I started doing. I did it like literally the first day when I knew we were all going to be shut in, locked down, and 2020 was going to be a shit show of a year. I started it then. And it was great because, unlike most people, I never panicked during the pandemic at all. I didn't have that. I didn't have a lot of things. A lot of people got guilt tripped and hit with this. Never touched me because I was always doing my own thing and creating. I never stopped. If anything, I did more. So then I decided to become a freelancer, and I spent 6 months trying to figure out what the fuck am I going to do as a freelancer, right?
Welcome to my, yes, I'm a freelancer. I mean, I'm a freelance editor, but yes.
Then it occurred to me that the podcast was the way to go. And so I went to Twitch because Twitch is a fun place to be. And that's when I went from 3 to 4 or 5 a week until like episode 900. And I did that in like 3 years. And then from 900 to 1,000, I cut it back a little bit because I was planning on going on the road.
Mhm.
Didn't quite work out the way I wanted to. That said, I think it's going to work out based on what I'm not going. I can't go into detail about that right now, but I think it's going to work out where I'm going to be on the road by spring next year,
Wow.
and I think it's going to fully work out. I think the stars are aligning that way. Now I still got to do a lot of work between now and spring, but
Mhm.
this work I can do. And then after that, I'm going to be literally doing the show on the road in strange places, doing cool things. That's
Mhm.
the end because I we have this tendency. I don't know whereabouts in Canada are you, if you don't mind my asking.
I'm in Maryland.
You're in Maryland. Okay, so you're in Maryland, United States. So Canadians, since I've been back in Calgary, I have found this phenomenon of people being reluctant to engage here. And I know it's a very Calgary phenomenon because when I was in San Diego for the Comic-Con, which was really cool,
Oh god, I've always wanted to go to the Comic-Con.
I was a professional at the con.
Oh. Oh, I've
It's
always
possible.
wanted.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
grew up with, like, X-Men, and, like,
That's your jam.
that
You
is
would
my
have loved
jam. Like,
this year.
Age
You
of
would have loved it.
Apocalypse.
So you would have loved this year, especially because there was no Hollywood there. It was insane, like really good, insane, right? So many great things. Like
Mhm.
I recommend this to anybody that's in the creative field. You need to do San Diego once, even if just as a fan, you need to do it.
I've been to San Diego when I
No,
was in
no.
high school,
I, I
but
mean,
I
I mean,
dislocated my knee.
ah,
That I climbed a tree at the San Diego Seaport Village and, dislocated my knee.
lovely,
That's
lovely.
yeah, random fun stuff to throw out there.
I tried surfing when I was in San Diego last time. So
Nice.
yeah, it is legitimately perfect weather for everything there. It is
Mhm.
unbelievable.
Even
Uh,
walking out onto the beach with crutches so I could at least touch the ocean. Yeah.
yeah, you could. And,
Yeah.
and it's like I said, it's not like the perfect. It's not quite perfect, but it's good in every category. That's the lovely thing about San Diego. The
Yeah.
con, but the thing is, I could talk to people at the con. You got to see people, like you can hang out and just chat with people randomly. Here, where I'm currently at, one of the things that I've kind of come to terms with now. I've
Mhm.
had an insane busy 2 weeks, but my 2 weeks is like tomorrow. I mean, I'm still working tomorrow,
Mm.
freelance wise, but it's not the insane schedule I've had for the last week and a bit. So I can
Mhm.
actually, enjoy myself a little bit, right? A little bit. So I say it like that. So right, but finding people here to interact with and enjoy has been a process. And it
Mm.
occurred to me like somewhere like about 6 months into being here that this is not where I'm meant to be forever. So now it's about getting out there. And also it's about learning the skills required as a freelancer so that I can be mobile and on the road at all times and not worry about making money.
Right.
Right. And that is, do you get the concept making money at will?
I mean, I would think that it is what it sounds like.
Kind of. But okay, so you get to a certain point. I don't know where you're like, I don't know. We'll talk about where you're at currently in your freelance career in just a second.
Sure.
But one of the things that I learned is there's a whole process to freelancing. And it really I broke it down to 5 steps.
Mhm.
The first step is to have a vision.
Mhm.
Okay, vision of what you want. The second step is to learn about said vision. How do I make that possible? Right. That can be going to school. It's not always necessarily the right thing you have to do, but I mean, school's an option there. There's
Mhm.
other options as well. Explore, discipline, do the work day in, day out. It might be the hardest. It's the simplest, hardest thing you got to do is you got to show up for yourself and do it. Right.
Yep.
Right. And then four, then when I get all this stuff going,
Mhm.
right? Learn, you got to believe in yourself. And
Yes.
this is super, it is the most important part of the freelance journey is it is these three things at some point you have to click that you got to believe you can do this, which
Mhm.
is three. Four was actually the fourth thing. And then the fifth thing is if you can do all of that, if you have all those tools, now you can honestly say, I can go and I can sell myself anywhere, anytime, and get a sale.
Yeah. I like that.
Right? It takes those 5 things, but you
Mhm.
got to build right vision, and possibly the 6th is
Mm.
pivoting. You got to learn when to roll with the punches, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be up and down. It's an up and down roller coaster, but ultimately, if you have the discipline, if you have the belief in yourself to do the things you're supposed to do every single day,
Mhm.
inevitably you win, right?
Mhm.
And my Canadian listeners will be like, that's exactly what it is.
Mhm.
But it's a process of finding it. Americans are more in tune to listening to this,
Mhm.
right? Going, yeah, I can do this. And now the question is, do you have the discipline to pull it off? That's the real question there. I think, but
Mhm.
right. I think for Canadians, it's about belief, and for Americans, it's about the discipline to actually follow through. I could be,
Interesting.
that's my theory. I could be on something, but or I could be onto something. I'll let you.
I don't think I can speak on behalf of my entire country because
Sure.
there's just way too many people. For me personally, I definitely have the discipline because I'm a Virgo through and through, which means we're anal retentive, and I also have my ADHD, which is great for hyper focus when I wanna hyper focus on my work.
Oh, sure.
So, fun times all around. But yeah, out of everything that you said, I would say the only one, number 5, that I'm still working on is selling myself.
Okay, so
But
what's the
all the other ones
struggle?
I've got.
So what's the struggle? You're awesome. So what's the hard part?
More just it's something that I've been working on and I've gotten better at and realizing that I can come up to you and I can talk to you about editing and I've been talking a lot about like easy ways to strengthen your sentences and it's really fun when I see people get excited about that and I'm in my element so I have that confidence, right? Like I know what I'm doing and I'm glad that I can see that I'm helping people, but then to all of a sudden be like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm a freelance editor." I don't know, there's just that moment of, "Oh, I feel smarmy." And I know that it's
Why?
not because we all have to earn a living, right? And this is what I'm good at. I am a good editor and yet like an anal retentive editor, which makes me a great editor. And yet to say that like it's
No. See, this is the mistake a lot of people make.
I know.
No. But I'm gonna try to put a point position that a lot of people don't like. I have no issue. I am awesome, and I have no doubt. I have no problem saying it. Now, here's the thing, right?
Mhm.
No one wants to hear a pitch, right? But what everybody wants to hear, like, honestly, is that you are passionate about what you're doing and that
Mhm.
you're great at it. Because here's the thing, if you don't say you're great at it, no one's gonna believe you when you offer a sale. No
Right.
one. Because why would they? If you're not gonna say it, what I think that's the rub, right? That's the real rub about this is you
Mm.
gotta learn to look at yourself in a very good light. Like, I have a big mouth. Now I can say it in a self-deprecating way, but what I'm actually saying is I'm a great communicator and I can
Yeah.
help you and I can help people and I can help people bridge connections and get their message across, whether that's advertising,
Mm.
right? Whether that's me writing something, making a video somewhere, doesn't matter. I am good at all of this stuff
Mhm.
and I can help you do that. I just gave you a soft sales pitch right there, right? It's very soft, but it's there, right?
Mm.
Because I have the confidence of saying, I'm good at this.
Mhm.
And what I learned is like asking for money. What you're okay. One way of looking at that is you're asking to be rewarded for your good work,
Yes, definitely, which
right?
I deserve 100%. Given the
Mhm.
amount of work and attention that I put into people's projects, yes, I deserve to be paid for that, and I can say that even though I still feel like my cheeks are getting red as I say that.
No, okay. Let's go one step further. Do you love what
Mhm.
you do?
Say that one more time?
Do you love what you do?
I do love what I do.
Okay, so let's try thinking of it like this.
Mhm,
The money is there for two reasons,
mhm.
right? Two reasons. Yes, you want to make a living, but it also is there to filter out the people you don't want to work with.
That is true.
right? Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Right? People that recognize you for your worth have no problems paying you
That's
ever.
true.
They never do.
Yep.
People that don't, people that don't, they will hum, they'll ha ha. I it's funny, like I did Kickstarter consultation for a I did a Kickstarter consultation for a one client,
Mhm.
and we had some good like hours. I got paid very well for that.
Mhm.
I have another a friend who's about to go on Kickstarter. I got no problem. He's my friend. I got no problem with it. But we've hit a certain point where I should be charging him for a consultation fee.
Mm.
Now, will the friend, when I do this, appreciate it or hum and haw? Now, if he hums and haws, I don't give him any more advice.
Mhm.
Not because I don't think highly of him, because it's more the other way around. If you think so highly of me, you're going to appreciate what I'm giving you here, which is information. I'm saving you time,
Mhm.
right? That's right. That's the real rub. Like, I'm saving you time. I'm giving you information that can help you do the best you possibly can do on your campaign.
Yep.
That's valuable,
Yes.
right? So I should be asking money for this and not even feel a moment's guilt because I've done the work, the detail, the excellence, and what I'm doing here now is I am asking you to appreciate me for it.
Yeah.
Not in oh, you must pay me every single step of the way. No. What I am is I'm asking for probably the best compliment you can give me for what I do, and that is pay me for it.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I'm just thinking about a recent free call that I gave
Oh
to
wow.
yeah.
Oh no, we've all been there. So
We've all
how
been
long
there
did
where it's like, "Okay,
how,
this turned into 45 minutes, and I'm giving you all this valuable information," and I'm like, "Okay."
so 45 minutes? So
Mhm.
so here's a hard and fast rule. I tell this different. As a friend, I'll give you 30 for free.
Yeah.
But after that, once we hit the 30-minute mark, I go, okay, you've hit the point where you now, if I'm going to continue talking to you about this, you must pay me.
I like that.
It makes sense, right? It's
Yes.
setting a boundary. Like you don't want to do like you never want to be quite that person that does nothing for free. But what you got to realize is your information is valuable and useful.
Yes.
So where does that line is? 30 minutes.
I like that because I do have it is tricky also where you schedule a 30-minute call and then it goes to 45 minutes, and then I've had them where they go to, like, an hour, and I'm like, "Okay, we're"
That's how, but that's how you do it. You go, okay, we've hit the 30 minute. Like, and you can do this as a professional, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we've hit 30 minutes. I'm enjoying this conversation, but if you want to continue me giving you information, you gotta be willing to do this. This is the hard part for you, because
Yeah.
right, because you gotta be like, I want to help you so bad. Yeah, you do, but you also like you can't get your time back.
I can't.
You can't.
I can't.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna do that. Thank you. That's
you're welcome.
awesome.
You're welcome.
Look at
Right?
that. I came here and I got business advice.
Yeah, and I
Growing
hope and good one and good business advice.
yeah.
Set your price points, figure out the kind of person you want to work with,
Mhm.
and set your price point to match that accordingly.
Oh, yeah.
Does that like if that makes sense to you, right? If that makes sense to you, that should like again, this is just I've been doing this for about 3 years.
Mhm.
So the first year I didn't make anything because of the mindset that I had to do a mindset shift. The second year is when I started, like the end of the first year, I started to believe in myself.
Mhm.
I started to see more money.
Yeah.
This is year three. Year three, it looks very likely I'm going to make a living wage as a creative this year, like a
That's
full
so
fledged. Yeah, but been a process to get there, and the process is it does take time. There's no quick way of doing it, unfortunately, but it's also about the rules of what you will and will not allow yourself to be treated by. And one of the hardest lessons as a creative
yes.
is understanding that.
Yeah, I'm just now entering year 2. And it's been exciting to see how profitable I've been in the last couple of months, so that's good that my business is on the upswing.
Hmm.
First year, of course, is a big learning year.
Hmm.
And so it's really coming together, and I mean, my price as a freelancer is set at 3 cents a word, which is no joke, and it does filter out the people who, aren't willing to pay that, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay, and I get and not everybody can afford that, and I respect that.
And you're not mad at that one. Like
No.
that, like you like. There's 4 reasons. I call it the 4 reasons to fire somebody. I've heard
Mhm.
them. The first one is the most forgivable, and which is just they're just not ready to work with you or for you at this point in time.
Right.
That happens, right? That happens to us all. Like there are levels I'm not ready for. There are
Mhm.
levels you're not ready for, but you know they're there, and the objective is to get to those levels, right?
Mhm.
And but you're gonna also have people that are coming underneath, like where you're at, and you're like, okay, they're not ready for me, and I'm not right, and that's a very real thing.
Mhm.
And when you look at potential clients that way,
Mhm.
right? That's a filter you're okay with, because that doesn't mean that the thing is they're not ready isn't forever. Usually,
Right.
usually, right? At some point that can change. And if it does, right, just be good with them, right? Just be good and
Mhm.
honest. And it's like, okay, I can't work with you right now. I'm sorry. I know you can't, but I got bills to pay and I got this and this and this. And I hope you understand. And they usually do. Like most of those people usually do get it. It's like, I appreciate it. Thank you. There's usually like some kind of handshake there.
Yep.
And then you go off your merry way. So at least for now, a few years later, who knows? It might be like, I'm gonna make it rain. You're gonna be like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that one at least I don't have any issues with. I was like, "This is my rate. I know that I am worth it, and if that's just not right for you right now, no hard feelings. I get that. That's okay."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you gotta understand, what you are and what you aren't, right? So
Mhm.
and that's something like as a client, what you're trying to do is you're trying to protect yourself, like you don't want to give champagne service on a beer budget.
Right? Oh, my grandfather used to say that.
It's right.
He
It's
would say,
great.
"Champagne taste and beer pocket change."
Yep, that works, but it's the
Mhm.
same thing, right? It's the same idea. It's the hardest trick in the book,
Yeah.
right? It's the hardest trick in the book is you figuring out your worth is as an artist, period, is one of the hardest things to do.
Yes. Yes. But I'm glad. I mean, I'm there. It's just a matter of putting myself out more, and that's okay. It'll happen more with time. And I have 3 hats that I'm wearing right now. 3.
Just three?
Yeah, well, there's more, but my 3 primary ones, okay, aside from parenting, my 3 primary ones are being a podcaster. I'm gonna get my thumb in the screen here. Being a podcaster, being an author, and also a freelance editor. And
Okay.
so fun times. It's all creative, which I love, but balancing those 3, and I don't want them to suffer. So, my primary focus is on the editing and authordom, and then I still love my podcast, but I'm running out of hours.
You're running out of hours.
Yes.
So what do you mean by that?
My husband's just like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Do you think you can shut the computer down for a little bit?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I just want you to relax." And I'm like, "Well, I'm working on my own novel right now. That's fun for me. That's not work. That's the
So
fun part." Like,
yeah, it's figuring out the relaxing balance too. That's hard. Like I've been going, like I worked nonstop at like I have a side gig. It's not my main paying job is my freelancing, but I still have a side gig at a hockey arena for an NHL team. I don't know if you care about hockey or not, but if
that's
you
so
don't,
cool.
yeah, that's my side gig. And so last week I worked 6 to 7 days there because it wasn't just that. There was other like concerts and other events going on too.
Mhm,
And it was a busy week. So I was busy doing my thing,
mhm.
and it was very much a how do I put this? It was very much a balancing act of going from one job to the next job to the next job to the next job.
Yep.
Like, and I've been off it for a couple days, but for the last 2 days, I've been just doing deadline after deadline after deadline because I got a bunch. I still got another. I had 6 to 8 major deadlines. 4 are done.
Mhm.
4 are done, and and that's I'm good with 4. Like 4 of 6 is really good. I'm trying to get everything done by tomorrow so I can get so I can get paid.
Yes,
So
that's good.
I like getting paid.
Me too.
It's an important thing. So
Yeah.
that's the next step for me. But it's been a process the whole way through, and
Mhm.
it right. And like I said, after that, I'm going to make myself take a bit of a breather on the weekend, because that, like, I might be able to give myself a breather Friday. I'm not sure yet. Like,
Mhm.
Friday's a maybe, but the weekend I'm taking off because I need to take a weekend off.
Yes. I actually relaxed all Sunday, and that was nice. I watched rerun episodes of Charmed, the original series,
Okay.
and, so that's my go-to happy place.
So Charm's your go-to happy place.
Yes, I love my Charmed ones.
For me, I play video games. Like, video games is my kind of like my reprieve right now. I'm playing a video game right now that I'm thoroughly enjoying, because it's almost like a remake of a game I liked before, but with a lot more content. So
Okay.
it's a different story than what I did last time, which is awesome.
Mhm.
But no, I how did I put this? It's a very fun way to relax.
Mm.
I haven't had a chance to do it in 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
right? Because it's just the way it goes. Sometimes when it rains, it rains. I'm going to be hustling tomorrow for more work. I'm supposed to be getting another job in my lap Wednesday. We'll
Mhm.
see if that happens. But it doesn't stop, and that's the whole point.
So, my October has been insane
Mhm.
because I did a weekend writing workshop for my reader magnet, which was 9,000 words in a weekend.
Cool.
Uh-huh. And then after that, I was getting ready for the Right Women Book Festival, where I
Okay.
was there as a podcaster, and so I was walking the entire festival, interviewing other authors and stuff like that, which was
Fun.
exhausting, but amazing. And then I
It's
also
it's fun
taught
stuff.
some Yeah, and then I also taught some workshops, so I had to also prep for that. And then I spent the following week at my kids' school all week long because I volunteered for the Scholastic Book Fair, because hello, being surrounded by books and kids, okay, sign me up. Oh my god, how expensive it was. Oh, the number of books I came home with, and my husband was like, "Can you not volunteer next year?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm co-chair next year. I will be running the Scholastic Book Fair."
Okay, so what you need to do is you need to make a deal with your husband. This is the
Yeah.
deal. No, you need to make a deal with him. This is the deal. Okay, listen. You're gonna give me $60, and I'm gonna burn. No, you gotta control yourself. Now, if you do really well, listen. If this is not a motivation for your business, I don't know what will. So here's the deal: if you're kicking
Uh-huh.
ass editing next year, you
Yes,
go nuts, right?
I
But
did.
if right, you go nuts. But if not, you go, okay, listen, I am not. It's like me on Kickstarter.
Mhm.
I'm not an adult, and I know I'm not an adult. So I don't go on Kickstarter because I don't have the self-control required to be good,
Oh,
right? Now,
yeah.
now I can somewhat mitigate books, somewhat, right? I'm a big comics are my
Mm.
weakness, just general rule of thumb. I'm a big comic guy too. I'm a DC guy more than a Marvel guy.
That's
That
okay. You know,
yeah,
one of my friends, is a colorist for DC Comics.
nice. Who?
Yeah, Tom Chu. He's done a lot of Silver Surfer. He was Marvel, then he went to DC. I don't know where he is right now. I should reach out to him, be like, "Which one are you working on now?" But I remember him showing me that he was doing a lot of Silver Surfer, and he sent me pictures over the years, which are amazing. But anyway,
That's cool. No, that's really cool.
it is really cool.
Colorists are actually are a lot bigger in comics than they used to be. That's another
Mhm.
discussion for another day. But I mean, but the thing is, I realize, like, I have a self control limit. I can only spend so much money at this, because
Yeah.
right, because I want to invest in myself. See, get to the point where your money is just rolling in, and
Yes,
you're looking for stupid things to spend your money on.
that would be
Get
nice.
to that, right? No, but that's where you want to be. Look,
Right.
look, right. Look at the obnoxiously rich people, right? It's not that they don't have a lot of money, right? It's not that they're not even saving their money. They just have a lot of it. Like,
They
I mean,
do.
a lot. So you know what that's going to give you? That gives you that freedom to go look at this obnoxiously stupid thing that you probably are going to regret later, and go, I can have this, and I want it. and I have that ability to go grab it. That is very like normal, right?
Mhm.
Now, here's the thing: stupid can range. Like that's the thing. The range, right? Stupid can range. So be careful about this,
Yeah.
right? Right. But assuming stupid can range, right?
Mhm.
Um, let's say, for example, we'll say what I think is probably closer to what you spent on scholastic books, which is somewhere in the $100 to $200 range, right? Right?
So to be fair, some of it was donations to the classroom. So I have 2 teachers, so I got them 3 books each. And then I have 2 children, so I got them books. And then they preview. And after they previewed, I just bought the stuff, but then when they actually came back to buy, they got some so yeah, around the yeah, definitely between the 1 to 200
What's
range.
the say between one? What's yeah, I'm not trying to like disparage it for it. I mean, there
It's
are
fine.
far worse. Hey, listen, there are a lot more people like I know people that spend that much money on booze or other things. Like in comparison, books are a much safer purchase by and large. Okay, now that all said,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna that all said, the teacher thing and the kid thing have a certain air of convenience to them. I'm not confirming or denying that. Just it's just how it rings true in my head. But that's okay. I'm not here to
Uh-huh.
judge
Uh-huh.
much. All right,
Oh,
right.
wait, here I've got this is so I got myself a pen because
That's nice.
Scholastic book for and it's a fidget pen.
I actually had a unicorn and fart rainbows pen. I actually had one of those for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. My sister actually bought it for me as a joke, and I actually enjoyed it. She's like, "Oh my god, I didn't think you'd enjoy these." So she buy me them every so often just because. So, but the thing is,
Uh-huh.
I embraced it. I actually had one of my main characters in one of my novels
Mm.
is a unicorn who farted at advertisements in rainbow
Mm,
form.
I
Right.
love that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I just want I stopped myself because I could add more to the joke, but she might do a spit take in her own stuff.
I know, I was drinking water right there, and it's like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god."
it's like, wait, am I gonna make her spit take? Because all of a
Yeah.
sudden then she just disappears, like, zzz, and I'm like, so I
Mhm.
think I screwed. I think I made her disappear, folks. First time ever on the show. But all of which to say though,
Mhm.
there are points, and this is a hard reality, and we all struggle with this. I'm certain. Listen, my bad habits of choice are comics, books, and magic cards. None of that stuff's
Oh.
cheap.
I wanna know about magic cards.
Like Magic the Gathering,
Oh, okay, I've heard of it. I have not invested.
it's a collectible card game. Now,
Yeah, I got into Pokemon just now to with bond with my son, and oh my god, the addiction.
oh
Gotta
no,
catch them all, gotta buy them all.
listen, if you want a touch of investment advice,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
If you have the budget for it,
uh-huh.
buy or every time a new Pokemon set comes out,
Yeah.
buy a box and just don't touch it.
Oh, that's too hard.
Oh, no, because those boxes go from like $100 to $1,000 within a few years.
Seriously? The $100 ones? Oh, my husband was just saying, "I really wanna get one of those, and then we could split it 3 ways."
No, have one for fun. Like if you're gonna do this, obviously buy one for fun because
Yeah.
we all listen. If you don't buy, this is what I've learned. So
Uh-huh,
there's this episode of The Simpsons where Homer's starting to eat the letters of the cake, and he gave her a cake to ruin on
uh-huh.
purpose. That was the cake he ruined. And the thing was, see, it's a smart thing. You're not gonna fight human nature. If I see like something, I'm gonna play it. We'll play with it, right?
Mm.
Right. So, but if you decide I give you up something to play, and we keep this somewhere where no like, and we just don't touch it for a few years, and then we come back and then we go on eBay and watch people pay you stupid piles of money for it.
That is tempting. I'm gonna have to tell him about that. He's probably gonna
Yeah,
I'm dying of heat stroke, don't mind me, while I'm putting my hair back and taking my sweater
I'm
off.
kind of jealous because I'm in Alberta. It's actually cold here or cool here, I should say.
The temperature's finally dropping. We had a really odd hot week in
Yes.
October here. I don't know what that was about. But I'm in my shared office/library, and so my husband has, I kid you not, 5 computer screens over on that other side of the room. And
That's
then I've got
fantastic.
3 monitors over here plus my ring light, and I'm like, "Okay, this room just gets really hot."
Yeah, it would. It would get really, really hot actually, which is
Uh-huh.
crazy, crazy. But no, it's like here it's like cold. Like it
Mhm.
not it isn't cool. Like -1 degree Celsius. 32, 31, 31 is where we're at in your part of the world. So it'd be 31, 30 degrees. Now we get to -40 here. Yeah.
I
And
can't fathom that.
don't want to.
Yeah.
Right? But that's so I was planning on going on the road before the winter hit because I didn't want to spend another winter here. But yeah, here I am. Ha 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 ha. But it
Gotcha.
looks like spring and I'm free. It looks like it. Well, fingers crossed on that.
Does Canada do Halloween
Yes, they
trick-or-treating?
do. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, so we're Pokemon tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so what Pokemon are you?
So I'm Squirtle, my
Okay.
husband is Charmander, my
Okay.
5-year-old is Pikachu, and
That
then
makes
my 8-year-old is Ash. So he's very excited. He thinks that that means that he can tell me and my husband whatever, like, tell us what to do and order us about as his Pokemon.
that'd be- you know what? You could have some fun with that. You could have some fun with that. That's funny. Because Ash, I see to really make this work, and this is how old I am. I remember this way back in the day.
Mhm.
Your husband should be Charizard.
We could so it was we got, like, the, kits, so it's just the tail that attaches around his belt, and then he has a little onesie hat that he pulls on to be Charmander, and then a shirt with Charmander's face on it, so he's double Charmander face, and then
Oh,
I have
no,
the same thing as Squirtle. So we
yeah,
looked into Charizard, and that was, like, 3 times the cost of
no,
the
no,
kit.
no. I get it. I understand, but let me explain. See,
Uh-huh.
because here's the real joke. See, Ash couldn't tame Charizard for the longest time. So if he was Charizard, you guys at that point could just like every time he tried to order you around, you could just like maul him, right? Not that I recommend mauling your own kids, folks. Kind
I
of sort.
mean
Yeah, but
I
but I
mean,
mean, if you're gonna have fun with it, right? Because he can't even be mad at you. Because here's what you can say: Well, Charizard wasn't tamed by Ash, right?
he's playing along.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that I mean, that's the thing, right? You can actually pick on your kid that way, but he's just Charmander. So I mean, you can pull it off,
Mhm.
right? So so here's the other out. And again, this is my inner nerd coming out to play here. So you can have your husband evolve during the trick or treating.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
I've evolved.
I'm now
Rawr.
I'm now Charizard. I don't listen to you now,
Yeah.
and then just watch your kid just get crushed. Right. If your kid ever listens to this show and any of this stuff comes up later, I'm gonna be like, he's gonna look at me. He's like, "It's your fault." I'm like, "Yeah, kind of was."
Traumatized me during my 8th Halloween.
That's right. And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I'm sorry, kid. You probably pulled the. I mean, so what's he using for like the Pokeballs? If you don't mind my asking.
He has the belt. He got that as a Christmas present where it's a belt with Pokeballs that sit on the
Oh,
belt.
okay.
Yeah, so he's got the actual I mean, they're mostly broken at this point because having an 8-year-old throwing Pokeballs at walls, they don't hold up very well. Uh, so, they kinda like rather than closing the way they should, they're all
So when I first saw the Pokeballs way back in the day, I thought they were like giant rubber balls. And I'm like,
um
why would a Pokemon cooperate with getting hit with a rubber ball to the nose? Like seriously, if you look at where he hits them, it's
Uh-huh.
like he hits them in the head or face. I'm like, you know, if I got hit with a Pokeball, I'd be pissed. I just,
Yes,
you
me
know.
too. I have gotten hit with a Pokeball, and they hurt.
Okay, so, oh,
Pokeball to the face, like,
that's
seriously.
wow. Did he actually
Sorry,
hit you in the?
mama. It wasn't intentional. It just has really bad aim, and I wasn't paying attention. I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you. Time to put the Pokeballs away."
And they say parenting is the ultimate adventure, folks. It's true. It really, really is. If you're
Ooh, yeah.
not paying attention, you get hit the Pokeball in the face.
Speaking of geekdom and funness with kids, right? I've been trying to get my kids into X-Men, and so we watched some of the '90s cartoon. which I would
Solid
totally
choice.
hum the song, but then I realized that it's copyrighted and I can't hum the song, so I won't. But we all
It's
know
okay.
it.
You
We
can hum
all
it for like 2 seconds and that's it, right? So like
da-da-da,
da 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 da, and that's it.
da-da-da.
That's all we can do. All we
Yeah,
can
that's
really
it.
do. That's it.
Yep,
That's all we can really do. And then Twitch will just beat us. Right,
right.
right. Or me. Actually, it'll beat me. It won't beat you. You're scot free. Right. Uh-oh.
So I hum sometimes during my podcast,
Yes.
and I would do the Wheel of Fortune song because I was
Okay.
thinking and trying to find stuff, and then I would get yelled at, like, "That is copyrighted music, you can't do that." I'm like, "I was just thinking, I'm
There
sorry."
no, no, no. So you got there are you can do it for a few seconds. Like there's an allotted time where you're allowed to. I think it's like somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds.
Wow.
And it also depends upon who owns the song,
That's
right?
true.
How they own the song. Like, don't fuck with Disney. I'm just telling you just don't fuck with Disney. No one wants to, and there's a reason for that. That they're very uber anal about protecting their IP. And as a businessman, I understand it to a point.
I get
They
it. Yep.
yeah, I get it to a point. The way the extremes they go to make my brain hurt just a
Mm,
little bit, but
mhm,
I can't fault their thinking. That's the thing. I can't fault their protecting their IP. I can't fault that.
mhm,
Everything else, I mean, to the degrees they protect it, some of it makes me go, this is borderline, especially with their employees. It's borderline site, like, you know. I don't like. I think they're not the ones that should be threatened with jail with the way you're treating them. But that's neither here nor there. What I will say is, like, you can sound is easier to pull off. You can do that to a point.
mhm,
Visuals can't at
mm,
all. Visuals. This is why what sometimes when you watch someone watching a live event, they will never show the event,
mm,
right? You might hear a clip like little bit. That's rare too. Like if it's live, it's really rare. But I mean, after the fact, you might hear a clip here and there
mhm,
because there is a certain allotment for education or for just also the fact that, okay, for example, the Jaws theme, da na 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 na, right? I mean, it's really easy to pull off. Now, I'm not going all the way in because if I did that, I'd be shut down. But
uh-huh,
right, but the thing is, that little bit is fine, right? It's an example, especially in
yeah,
this particular case. It's just me giving it a really easy example, and
mm,
also I can't sing worth a damn, so I could actually argue I'm just like terrible. It's like I could try, and it would be absolutely nuts, right? But what I would say to like you is you can hum to give yourself a timer in your head,
mm,
right? Not that, oh shit, I'm humming, right? Like if you get to that point, you stop. Just like, oh shit, I'm humming because I don't know how long I've been doing it for.
yep, yep. I'm
Yeah,
just I'm just like, I'm not gonna hum, I'm not gonna hum. I'm recording my podcast, I'm not going to hum.
it's all right. It's
Yeah,
but I mean, the best thing about podcasts is you can be yourself. Like you can totally
yes,
be yourself.
yes, I do love that.
And do you interview people, or are you still just or is it just more like this, like a back and forth conversation?
Um, so originally I had about 25 questions that I would just keep on the side in case I needed them to just get the conversation going. And that worked really well, but I also got tired of sometimes asking the same question too many times. So, then I started getting guests where I improved my form to fill out to come on my show, and when people would submit to Parents Who Write, I have a spot in there now where it's like, what is your specialty? What is your forte? What is something that made a really big difference in your writing career? And so it's like, okay, cool. Now I've got an idea of something to kind of focus the conversation. So it's a combination. Like I do have interview questions, but I also enjoy for it to go naturally the way it wants to go.
How long? How long is your show?
Um, so I record on Riverside. I used to go live, and that was too hard to coordinate interviews. So I don't go live with guest episodes anymore. But those conversations are at least an hour. They pretty much average an hour. And then I cut them down when I upload them onto the feed and everything. When I publish my episodes, I trim them down and I try to get them to like a half hour, 45 minutes if possible.
Okay. So you're going after a very specific. So
Mhm.
this has been my rule of thumb when I do interviews.
Mhm.
If it's a half hour or less, question and answers are fine.
Yes.
They're fine.
Right.
You don't have the time to do a full-fledged conversation. You're trying to get information out there. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
30 to 45 minutes is like a kind of like a magic spot because you
That's what I've heard.
right? Because see, questions are artificial sounding when we talk.
Mhm.
They don't feel like a conversation. They don't feel real, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you don't have time, you can get away with it. But if you
Mhm.
do have time, at some point the audience goes, I'm not going to listen to 45 minutes of questions and answers.
Mm.
They're just not, right?
Interesting.
Well, because again, there's a point where it just doesn't sound natural anymore, right?
Mhm.
15 minutes, like in a perfect world, honestly, 15 minutes, the only other time a question works is if it's multiple guests. Because then you just need something to organize the conversation,
Mhm.
right? That's when you can get like, then the host doesn't say anything really, other
Yeah.
than let's direct the conversation when we need to direct the conversation. But besides that, the host just shuts up and lets everybody else talk because that's what people are here to see, and that's just makes sense.
Mhm.
But unless you have that kind of format, it's better if you're going an hour,
Mhm.
like it's better to do what I'm doing with you right now,
Mm.
just bullshitting and having a good conversation, right? Like if we had a revolt of Charizard, how your husband can revolt on his own son in his kind of Halloween, right?
Right? I love
Right.
it. It's
Yeah, so
classic.
this was not a planned conversation beforehand, right?
Right.
So I say that because that's the cool thing about this format is it goes in unexpected places and it feels real or realer, right? Now we're obviously not in person. I'm not
Mhm.
making eye contact with you. I mean, I tell you pretty much the same dirty jokes, terrible jokes. I mean, that is who I am.
Mhm.
But I'm doing it in a way that's very I'm doing it in a way that's very natural. It doesn't. If you listen to this conversation when it's over, it will feel very organic. Now, the other thing I do is I don't really edit my conversations very much. And I will
Mm.
do it occasionally, but I won't do a lot of it because I'm more of a believer in a little bit of chaos feels realer than perfection.
Yes. I As a Virgo, I tend to be a perfectionist, and I've been learning to let go of that because it's way too stressful and time consuming.
Well, it doesn't. You can't be perfect. Like honestly,
Exactly, it's impossible.
yeah.
Hence why it's time consuming. If you're constantly striving for the impossible, like that's a massive amount of
You have an
time.
ideal to shoot for. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that, but there comes a point where you got to look at this and go, okay, what the fuck am I doing here? Right.
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, as you can tell, you can swear on this podcast if you are so inclined to do so.
That's very impressive. I never quite know. It's like I always talk about how to finish the shitty first draft, and I'm always like, I don't know if I can say shitty, but
Oh,
like we're
no, no,
supposed to
no,
celebrate the shitty first
you got,
draft.
so here's the thing. So you got to make a decision.
Mhm.
Okay. Is your conversation for kids?
No.
Your show is not really, I mean, it's about kids, kind of, but it's not a little bit, let's be
A
honest.
little bit.
Yeah, right? But it's not really about, it's not something that a kid is going to, this is from the parents' perspective with kids more than from the kids' perspective themselves.
Mhm.
Although you want a freebie, you know what? You should interview at some point. You should interview your son, not because I want to know what happened on Halloween, but you should interview your son for the show and ask him what it's like to have a parent that's a mommy that writes on podcasts as well as, and how does he deal with it, right? Right?
Mm.
Because at 8 years old, I mean, you're still a big part of his life, but I
Mhm.
mean, you're now kind of cutting into his time, right? So it's like, okay, mom, we got issues. Or mom, this is awesome. She's doing this, right? It'd be kind of cool, right? As a one-time only deal. But
Mhm.
by and large, you're an adult show. So you got to decide, okay, what kind of adult show do I want to be? Now you can be very clean. There's nothing wrong with a clean, and depending on the books you write, like let's say you're a YA author, hang
Yeah.
on, no, but let's say you were. Let's say you were a YA author between under the ages of 12.
Mhm.
Maybe you do a clean podcast. Maybe you
Right.
keep it clean, right? Because that's your audience. You're not going to try to like do anything that way. But barring those like very unique circumstances,
Mhm.
you're not going to give a fuck. Why should you?
No.
Right? And that's the beautiful thing about this kind of format is unless someone's paying you stupid piles of money, you
No.
can't talk like this. Right?
Right.
Again, if they give you stupid piles of money, I mean, you're like, who am
Hello
I?
there.
Yeah, right? Makes sense, right? They give you, I'm going to give you this pile of money. You can't swear on the show. Okay, you talked me into it. I will go count my money and feel sad about this sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes. But by and large, people talk like to talk. So you can make that decision for yourself. Or you can decide, you know what, I like the idea. Again, a clean show does have its advantages too. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it's about what you want to accomplish in the show.
Yeah, my show is about helping parents pursue their writing dreams. So,
Yeah.
we're talking about writing and making time for it and how that happens and all the ups and downs of the writing process and do you choose the traditional route? What are the pros and cons of that? What about the self-publishing route? The pros and cons of that and just every dip and dive that comes with it. But I will say I loved when my son realized that I was finally publishing my book, Ruins and Redemption. He looked at me and he was like, "Wait, mama, you're publishing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm publishing my book." And he's like, "You're an author, mama?" And I was like, "Yes. Yes, I am." And like he kind of walked away and then he came back an hour later. It was at dinner and we were just sitting down and he looks at me and he's like, "Mama, I can't believe you're a real author." I was like, "Thanks, kiddo. I'm glad I've impressed you." And he said it more than once. So it was like it was one of those
It
moments where
was sinking in. It was sinking
mhm,
in.
yes. And then when my books arrived and he got to hold it in his hand and he saw my name on the book, that was magical.
Yeah, it would be. It really would
Yeah.
be, right?
And he's
Because,
writing his book.
ooh,
Mhm.
he's
He's written
making
it.
so so basically he's going to make you and I feel inadequate.
Right? It took me 41 at 40 yeah, 41 years to finally publish my first book. Never mind the fact that I got my master's in writing and I had my BA in literature from so,
Oh,
all those
oh,
degrees and
s-
yet
okay. So I got to ask this because
mhm.
okay, so I'm 42. I have
Oh,
6 of them right now.
I'm 42 now too.
Yeah, and I have 6 of those books now.
Oh, congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I got a 7th and an 8th and possibly a ninth on their way very soon as well. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, so I'm going to ask you a big question here then.
Sure.
You got all this credentials.
Uh-huh.
All of them. Oh, okay. What stopped you? And you can't I'm not going to give you the out of the kids.
Oh, no, it wasn't the kids actually. And
Yeah.
it started before that, which was a shocker for me. It was multifaceted, but one of the biggest things was all right, it was a lot. So I'm just gonna
Yeah, sure,
in
sure.
any whatever order that these come out. The first one is as much as I loved getting my master's in writing, and how phenomenal those classes were. I love learning about writing techniques. I love implementing them. I enjoy workshops, especially when you have a workshop where people aren't telling you how to write your own story. That's great. Um, but they focus on taking a single chapter and perfecting it over and over and over again. And then you have one chapter that is phenomenal, but they never actually taught me how to write a shitty first draft and get the book done just the first time round. That was a huge holdup for me. And then also, I've been a professional editor for 15 years. And so, two things there. One, um, I had a hard time turning off my inner judge. Which this is one of the big things that I talk a lot about with my clients now because I've been there, but it's you have to give yourself permission to turn off your inner judge and just get that shitty first draft out, right? But I
Mhm.
struggled with that for years because especially as an editor, right? Like how can I write crap if I'm an editor. Like people have certain expectations for me because of that. That's my profession. So that created an additional pressure for me. But then also, as an editor by day, I spent a good portion working on nonfiction books as an editor for like 8 years. And so I was staring at a computer screen all day. And the last thing I wanted to do was come home and stare at a computer screen. And so it was a lot of that. And then also I met my husband who was the love of my life and like is the love of my life, not past tense. Um, and so we enjoyed falling in love and getting married, and that took precedence for a long time too. And then the kids, right? But a lot of it was overexposure in a sense, in terms of the editing all day long and then the perfectionism and just never really realizing or never really learning how to just write that shitty first draft. And I finally did. I finally figured it out, especially working with other clients for so long. I was like, I can do this now.
So was it like the other clients that gave you the because it sounds to me like you were looking for permission for the longest time from somewhere.
Yes. I think I needed to give myself permission. It wasn't it My clients didn't need to give me permission. They believed in me from the start. They'd seen my writing and they're like, "Why aren't you finishing your book?" And is the biggest holdup was learning how to write the shitty first draft, 100%. And so Ruins and Redemption, right? I have the book that I started when I was in college. I started that when I was in 2000, when I was at American University and I was studying literature. I started what I called my magnum opus, and then I workshopped it when I got my master's, and it just got too big and overwhelming, and I backed off from it. And then I had a dream a year ago, and I couldn't get the dream out of my head. One of the characters kept oscillating back and forth between Legolas and Geralt from The Witcher. And I was like, hot
Okay.
stuff, right? Hot stuff. And so I love how they kept shifting back and forth between those two characters. But I had a dream and I couldn't let it go. And so I kept daydreaming about it over and over and over again. Who are these characters? Why did my character come from another world into this world? What is it that these characters want? Why didn't these characters trust these other characters, etc.? And I just kept daydreaming it for like 3 months. And then I sat down and I finally gave myself permission to write that shitty first draft, and figured out the keys to that. Like even where you're writing and it's like I don't know what the hell type of dress she's wearing, and I'd insert a bracket, find a freaking dress for this girl, end bracket, highlight it so I come back to it later and just keep writing. But I finally sat down to write the first draft, and that was 12 weeks and 110K, which then
Okay.
actually turned out to be the first 2 books. And then I drafted for NaNoWriMo last year 50K for book 3.
Okay.
And I have 4 outlined. So, and I'm revising book 2 right now.
So I draw as well.
Oh, fun.
And I would say I'm competent at it now. I'm not gonna say I'm great, but I'm competent.
Mhm.
So I was terrified of drawing for a very long time. And the thing was, I think ultimately, like what you're talking about, perfectionism is I think part of it, but there's a genuine fear of sucking, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
So I had a wonderful thought one day.
Mhm.
Was my sister bought me these sketchbooks and stuff that I hadn't touched, and this is now month 7 of the pandemic or something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're afraid you're gonna suck. Then it's like almost some thought. So what if you suck?
Yeah.
Right? You
I
don't.
reached I reached that point where I was like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm tired of putting my dreams on hold. I'm tired of putting myself on the back burner. I don't care how this book turns out. I'm going to write the damn thing. And then I freaking love it. I love my book. It makes me so happy.
That's awesome. That's
I love
awesome.
rereading my own book, and I'm like, I love this.
No, but that's the whole thing, right? Like you give yourself. So again, we're gonna go back to C.S. Lewis here.
Uh-huh.
C.S. Lewis versus J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm.
Okay, both awesome writers. I'm never gonna. Okay, personally, this is going to sound a little sacrilegious, but I read The Wheel of Time before I read Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So I don't enjoy Lord of the Rings as much as some people do because I read The Wheel of Time. That's my first fantasy series, right? So that's the standard which I measure all fantasy series by. And Lord of the Rings came first and has all the holes in it that Wheel of Time doesn't, but it's also so that I'm digressing here.
It's okay.
Here's the point. C.S. Lewis just wrote. Like he wrote a lot of stuff. Now, Lord of the Rings is an epic, classic masterpiece that we've remembered for the etched of time. But you know what? So is Narnia.
Yes.
Right? And he didn't just write Narnia. He wrote Mere Christianity, which is also a really well-known book. And then he wrote like Out of the Silent Planet, like his science fiction little trilogy as well.
Screw Tape Letters. Wasn't that him?
Screwtape Letters, that's him as well, right? Like, which is a hard book to read. Sometimes I will admit that's the hardest of his books to read because it's fun to be a bad guy to a point, and there's a point when you're writing a bad guy that it's not fun anymore because it's like, no, this is just dark, shitty stuff he's doing, right?
Right.
Right. So, and you could tell like Lewis got there with Screwtape. It wasn't right away. Like early chapters are kind of fun, but when you get to the end of the book, it's just like, oh, this is a tough read. But this
It's
is
like Lolita.
yeah,
Reading Lolita is a tough read.
yeah. But here's the point I'm getting at. So now Tolkien typed everything out and was worked very hard on perfectionism. And again, you can't argue Lord of the Rings. You can't argue The Hobbit. You can't. But I think if I had to pick between the two authors, it's Lewis. I would rather be Lewis than I'd rather be Tolkien. Not because I don't think Tolkien isn't great, but because I think that Lewis let himself have more fun.
I agree with that.
Right? And because Lewis let himself have more fun, his work has a certain vibrancy that even Tolkien's does not. And I think honestly, if I'm going to be that way, I would rather be that way. Right? If I had to choose between the two. Now I'm somewhere in my own little unique little corner of the universe. I tell terrible jokes in my writing. Some of them are actually funny. Right? So, but it's me and I'm having fun and I don't care about writing that great masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm
I
passionate.
yeah. Oh, I don't even look at it. Yeah, it's like I loved when I was a kid the sci-fi pulpy size novels. If that's my whole writing career, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need. I don't need look. I respect the hell out of Brandon Sanderson. Some of his books could also be used as lethal weapons. Like they're that big, right? Like seriously,
Yeah.
I could literally drop if I drop it from a high enough height, I'd knock somebody out with one of
Yes, you would.
Yeah, you legitimately would. Like they would go down, they'd be like, "What the hell just hit me?" A book. It's like, yeah, heavy reading just for you. But anyway, that but again, and this isn't a knock because Sanderson's great at that. He's prolific, he's talented. But that's what he loves to do he knows who he is as a creative. And that's something that I think a lot of people realize. Like, you don't necessarily have to try to be the next so and so. Fuck that. Be the first rate you, whatever that is. Figure out who you are and figure out who you give what you give a shit about, and you'll find an audience. Look, I mean, I would argue again, going back to Lewis and Tolkien. Yes, Tolkien changed fantasy forever. That's absolutely true. But I think if you look at it from both a nonfiction and fiction perspective, more people have read C.S. Lewis.
Oh, you think? Yeah, good point.
More people have.
Yeah.
And part of it is just because he has so much more material out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Part of it. But part of it is also in the process. He's the baseball player that swings at every pitch. So what happens is a law of averages. Sometimes he strikes out. Sometimes he hits a single. Sometimes it's double. He hits single, double, triple, home run. Now, Tolkien, to his credit, whenever he swung, he hit those big grand slams. But he only swung 4 times. Maybe 5
Yeah.
if you want to 5 if you want to count the Silmarillion, but I don't
Oh, I
count
love
them.
that book. Sorry.
I
I love that book.
it's a world building book, but I wouldn't call it a good story,
No,
right?
I agree. It definitely is a world building book. And there are some times where it's like, can I just get to the end of this one? But it was just extremely fascinating.
Hmm. No,
Yeah.
it's like from a world building standpoint, it's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend. I don't recommend that book to
I still
anybody.
enjoyed it.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I wouldn't do it. Like I wouldn't
I don't
recommend it,
know
right?
where. It's
Yeah,
around here somewhere. Oh, it's right there.
yeah. See, yeah. Again,
Yeah.
and anyone listening, to this, I'm not denigrating J.R. Tolkien as well at all. Like I'm saying he's a great writer, but if I had to choose between the two of them, I'd rather be Lewis.
I get you. I have Tolkien, Potter's above, and oh, Narnia. Oh, it's right off here, but it's if I rotated my commute a smidge. There they are.
Yes,
There's
Narnia.
Narnia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Like people forget this. Like he wrote so much that in the time he had that he created again. Lord of the Rings is a bigger hit than Narnia. People still love Narnia.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm trying to read Narnia to my kids though. I think I tried too early. Maybe I should try again.
Narnia fit. Okay, how old's your youngest?
5.
He's a little too young for Narnia. But
Yeah.
your 8-year-old is just at the right age.
Now's a good time.
If you're gonna
Right.
do it now because you got the window with him is 11 years old. See, at
Mm,
11 years old, you gotta move up. You gotta step up your game at that point.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of when he was 6 or 7, reading the first Percy Jackson book, and I from Rick Riordan's, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Yeah, I made the mistake of reading that one to him. I forgot how intense that book is. Like, when the Minotaur flips their car upside down, and you think Percy's mom is dead, and, like and my son oh my god. I'd be reading it to him, and he'd be pacing in the living room, grabbing his hair, and he was like, "Mama, why are you doing this to me?" I'd be like, "Do you want me to stop?" "No, I have to know what happens." But he would be so
He's a reader, and also if you give him Percy Jackson now, he'd love it.
right? Like, I don't know. He was very upset
No,
with
no, no,
me.
no, no. But he'd love it now. Again, he's older. He's a little bit. He's got right. He's a little bit older. He
Yeah.
like see it's slightly different, right? Right. So he's in the point. Okay, so he's at the point, and we never really fully outgrow this. I admit. He's at the point that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are cool,
Yes, he is.
right?
My 5-year-old though loves TMNT because of the video game. We got the Turtles in Time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and my 5-year-old's out there, and he's just like, "Pew, pew, 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 ah!" Like,
So
screaming as he's
so so
fighting
so so
Baxter
so
and
so so, so okay, so he got him even really young. So he's in now. So
yeah.
all of which to say that see, I actually one of the comics I collect. I still collect the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Kevin Eastman is still doing it.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Did you ever collect X-Men?
You know what? It was one of the ones I missed. So here's the here. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay,
Mhm,
X-Men was intimidating. When you go to a comic shop, now here's why it was intimidating. Okay,
okay.
so you go to a comic shop, go, okay, I think the X-Men are cool. We did the theme song earlier. I've
Mhm,
never disliked the X-Men.
mhm.
When you go to get an X-Men book, here are your. This is what Marvel does. You got X-Men, then you got Uncanny X-Men, then you got Wolverine, then you got X-Force, then you got Cable or Deadpool
Excalibur,
or
X
yeah,
Factor.
yeah, or Excalibur or by the time so you're looking at your comic shop and there's like 20 books. Like and
Uh-huh.
they're all X-Men books. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's the frightening part. I'm not exaggerating. And Batman has the same problem, by the way. So I'm like, what? How? And like, what do I even start at? Like, it's scary and intense. Now, I do have a couple X-Men runs under my belt.
Mm.
I was a big fan a few years ago of X-Men Red. I actually
Oh.
enjoyed the fact that they reimagined. So they reimagined the Jean Grey Magneto, the Xavier Magneto conflict with Jean Grey as Professor X and Professor X has a sister that's a bad guy. Can't remember her name off the top of my head, but those two had a 11 issues. They had a really cool back and forth, and I really loved it because it felt like an old school X-Men book. I really enjoyed it. But like I've never been able to sustain an X-Men run, which is too bad. They have some fun books. They really, really do.
Yeah.
It's just there were so many of them that
I
it intimidated me just a touch.
I skipped the others. I was just stuck with X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. But I did have to get all of them during the Age of Apocalypse saga, where then you had to have every single one, but at least they were easily numbered with Age of Apocalypse, so you could follow them across all the
So
yeah.
you understand my problem, right?
Yeah.
You understand my problem. So if I'm starting, I'm looking at this, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to get into? Like that's what it was. Like and right back like so I was a Green Lantern guy first.
Mm,
Still am a Green Lantern guy. Um all right, and that's the thing, right? You have this like this really cool like guy that overcomes fear with a magic ring. That's a pretty badass concept, right? So
yep.
that's Green Lantern in a nutshell. Right. And that's a cool book, and it was just one, right? Just one book, right? So
Mm,
sometimes it go up to three, but for the most part, it was just one. And when it's one book, you can follow. Like there's something to be said. Okay, I get it. Like publishing business sense, I get why there's 20 Batman books. I
it's
really
overwhelming.
do, right? I get it because he sells, right? I
Mhm.
get it as a businessman, but as a creative person, I want a good Legion of Superheroes book. Is that so much to ask? Or Marvel? You know what? Could you do like a really kick-ass Silver Surfer book, like a really
Mm.
good ongoing regular one again? I'd like that. How about like take some. You got so many cool characters. Just pick one, right, and go with it, right? So and try it because you need. There is such. I think publishing needs like publishing needs a healthy influx of new stuff, even if it bombs, because that new stuff is something may click, but it's like a risk of the reward for that one hit. Like you may have a shit ton of failure,
Mhm.
but also it reinvigorates. It keeps the pool fresh, so that you know
Mhm.
what I'm not looking at 20 X-Men books a month. Maybe I'm looking at 8, right? 8 so like again, for me that's still a bit excessive, but you know what? I get it. Right? It's your biggest seller. People are into the X-Men, right? That comes to 2 books a week, right? At about $4 a book, which is a lot. So it's $8 a week. That's $8 a week. Okay, fine.
I remember when it was $1.25.
I had some 30, I had some 15-cent comics once upon a time. Oh yeah.
Dang.
I had until very recently Sinestro's first appearance from Green Lantern, like his first appearance.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I have Gambit's first appearance.
which is cool.
That's cool,
Yeah.
especially because he was my favorite character, and I was writing fan fiction before I knew what fan fiction was when I was in high school, and, so I wrote myself into the X-Men universe where Gambit was my uncle.
He was your uncle,
Mhm, Uncle Remy.
Uncle
Yep,
Remy. Okay.
yep, and then later on, I discovered I was also Sailor Moon's long lost sister, so
Hey, you know what? If you're gonna do crossovers, what the
yeah,
hell? Why not?
yeah,
Why not?
why not?
Why
They
not?
both dealt with crystals.
I guess yeah, that's right. That's right. That right. So I mean, did you have a magical transformation?
No, but I did eventually kind of power up, but when I would power up into my suit, it was an X-Men suit, though, not a sailor suit.
Okay.
'Cause I
Not
was
the
originally an X like Uncle Remy, right? So,
yeah. So
I was
you
raised by the
you take
X-Men.
after it, but you still have like this weird crystal amalgamation on. Okay,
No, not crystal amalgamation, it turned so okay, here do you know about the Mcron crystal in the, X-Men universe?
I'm aware of it
Okay,
vaguely.
so the Mcron crystal has to do with the Phoenix saga where Jean Grey and they went to the Shi'ar Empire and her brother Dakan, whatever his name was, got the Mcron crystal, was going to destroy the universe, etc. So I decided that the Mcron crystal was just so powerful. A prophecy was that it would be the crystal made flesh and that it would be reborn as a human instead. And that was me. So, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Uh huh. Yeah. So I was the Mcron crystal. I didn't wear crystal on me. I was the embodiment
You
of the
were the
beginning of the
crystal.
universe. I was the crystal. And
Yeah,
there
that's
was
right.
a big freak out moment of, am I human or am I not? Um, but yes. And then I wasn't affected by the Age of Apocalypse time change because of being the Mcron crystal. And so then I was stuck in the Age of Apocalypse having to try to fix time with Bishop. It was a
Gotcha.
pretty freaking awesome storyline.
It's not bad. That's
I
not
loved it.
bad. That's not bad. I mean, the Amcron Crystals thing actually has some legs to it. If you should find who to pitch that to. You should. Just so why
Right.
not?
I
Right.
was like, write me in Serena Rose LeBeau.
But yeah, except maybe what you do is you take yourself out and create a brand new character
Yes.
because and
I
don't
changed
marry.
my name.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. That honor still falls to Avengers West Coast. That's
Uh-huh.
still the time travel episode.
Yeah, right.
That's still the worst thing in comics I've ever seen.
I
Right.
mean, it's but yeah, so and then it turned out that like because of Sailor Moon and the Silver Imperium crystal, the two crystals weren't supposed to be together. So the first time that I was reborn on the Moon Kingdom, uh evil was coming because they wanted both crystals, and if they had both crystals it would be at the end of the universe. And so you never ever ever see about Sailor Moon having a dad, Princess Serenity. Like there is no King of the Moon, it's always been Queen Serenity. And so no, the king, he took me and we went to another galaxy, where I was raised away from my sister Serenity. And then when the Moon Kingdom was destroyed, I died also, and then I was reborn as Remy LeBeau's niece in the X-Men.
Okay.
It's so thought out. It's crazy. And this was like a year's worth in English class where I did not want to write in a journal because I was like, there's nothing in my life interesting. So instead, I wrote this world. I was like, this is what I'm going to write in my English class journal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta admit the plot twist kind of hurts my head a little bit. I mean, just a touch. But you know what? As far as fan fiction goes, it's pretty good. I won't crap on it too much. It's just like, yeah, some of that is just like, yeah, my brain's doing a lot of gymnastics right now. And it's like I like and if I'm trying to do if I try to do the splits, bad things happen to me. So if yeah. So but
it
I
was
mean
more progression at least. Like
well,
it
no,
started off.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a really cool. And I still think the M Crown Crisco part of that is actually money. I do think it's money, but I do. I think that's great. I think there's that that jump the shark moment. I think he did. I'm not again. This is how old were you when you wrote this?
Oh, I was what, a junior in high school? This was
So 16, 15, 16.
17, 16,
Yeah,
17.
okay,
Yeah,
16,
there you go.
17.
Yeah.
So I mean, 16, 17-year-old did pretty good. I mean, all
Thank
things
you.
considered. All things
Right?
considered.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, I would go to her, it's like, okay, so this part you should pitch to the comic. This part you should just keep to yourself because
Well, I
I
mean, let's face it. I highly doubt that Marvel would work with Toei or whoever has the copyright Sailor Moon for me to be able to do a crossover like that anyway.
yeah,
To be able
well,
to
see, here's the thing. I think Marvel would. I think, but why not? Look, here's the thing. I have a very simple perspective. If there's money, if there's an actual potential to make some decent money at it, why not? Right?
I could see eventually writing that story, the X-Men version of it, because man, I freaking love that one.
Yeah, why not?
Especially
Right?
because when Uncle Remy left, I was stuck with the Assassins Guild instead of the Thieves Guild, and so they wanted to make me an assassin instead of a thief, and they sent me to assassinate Uncle Remy at the X-Men, but I couldn't do it, and I was so upset, and that's how I wound up staying with the X-Men. And then I was a non-mutant living with other mutants, so dealing with that, and man, not knowing I was a crystal at that point. But anyway,
see, I seriously think there's some money in it, like a human beings that have to clean up after the X-Men in the mansion. I think there's money there. I think that could be a fun little series. Like take Star Trek Lower Decks and like put it in the X-Men mansion, and I think you'd have gold there, like
Oh,
common
no. Uncle
gold.
Remy was too protective for me to be cleaning up in the X mansion.
I don't know. Actually, it's the perfect way to hide you. See, that's the, like that'd be the perfect way to hide you. Listen, go be a janitor because nobody pays attention to them. Like I mean, it doesn't sound sexy, I admit, but you know, right, right. There's a certain practicality with it.
Uh-huh. No, I was a 7-year-old assassin when I showed up at the X mansion. 7 years old.
So I mean, in one sense, I can give you like credit to be a forerunner because Damien in Batman's like 10 and he's an
Oh,
assassin, right? So I mean, son of Batman can be a killer at 10 years old. Why? Like, really, what's 3 years? Maybe,
right?
maybe the 7-year-old's a little bit more fascinated with slinkies. That's a 50-50 coin toss, though.
But
That's
when you're
right.
raised by the Assassins Guild, you don't really have a choice in the matter.
Oh, I don't know. See, here's the thing.
Mhm.
If you deny someone like that ability to play, right? That would be
Mhm.
their undoing. Like that would totally be their undoing because it's like, suddenly you just distract them with something they've never seen before. That natural curiosity would just, even if they have the disciplined mind, it's a child, right? So
Uh-huh.
at some point, actually, there's even adults. If you make it tantalizing enough, the adult is going to stop what they're doing. It's like, what the hell is this? How does it work? Right? I've seen it. I worked at Pure Later Courier. I was working in a warehouse,
Mhm.
and I remember she was in her late 50s, early 60s, something like that. I took a ball of tape and I rolled it up and I started playing around with it like a cat and I'd watch her eyes just start back and forth with the thing. And I'm just like I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? I could play with her like and I actually did just a little bit just to see if it actually she would. She would. The spirit of play, no matter how old you are, is inside you.
Mhm.
All you really need is an excuse for it to come out.
Mhm.
This is why old people never should be leaders because see that like they're bulletproof. They're bulletproof in the sense that they've already lived their lives,
Mhm.
right? So they can just do random shit and not worry about it because
Yep.
seriously, who's gonna punish an old? See, kids they don't know better, right? But when you're 70 and you're doing stuff that you should know better about, like what is someone going to tell them? No, don't, right? They're like, I've been alive for 70 years. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't argue with you. Like, like, where do you go from there, right? Right. So
Yep.
I, I say that like that. So just like that's why, like, but because they have the old people have an incredible spirit of play because they don't care anymore.
Mhm.
So now they're just looking to have fun. Now again, depending on how they've lived their lives, it's
Mhm.
either it's they don't give a shit no matter what, but how destructive that is. This is why old ladies shoplift.
Oh, why not? My grandmother used to take a handful of garlic cloves because they were too expensive apparently in 1950, and so she would take a handful and just pocket it.
Mhm.
So I just picture my grandmother pocket handfuls of garlic in her
I used to
pocket.
work at a grocery store. Number one crime was from old ladies over 65. No,
That
no,
was my grandmother.
uh,
Take the garlic.
I'm not even joking. Like they
Wow.
were just. I'm not even joking because again, what do you do with them? They're looking for something to do. They're bored, so they're looking for things to have fun doing. And what are you gonna do to an old lady? Like seriously, like what are you gonna do?
Here's my garlic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Are you going to threaten an old lady not to come back in here anymore? And
No.
and here's the other thing: getting mad at one of them's equally as obnoxious, right?
So, there's an episode of Bluey that I freaking love, and it's, where the 3 girls pretend to be grannies, and, one of them is Cranky Granny, and she just starts, like, screaming and yelling and, like, hitting people with her purse, and I'm sorry, it's the funniest thing ever. Grannies! Oh god, I love Bluey.
I'm frightened to look and see. This is why I don't watch television anymore. I'm frightened to some of this stuff now, but it's so true. Like honestly, when like I'm 42.
Uh-huh.
I might be a supervillain by the time I'm 50.
Oh,
Why not? So
okay.
so Okay.
You know your path.
Well, yeah, no, I know where it's going to go because let's be honest, okay. So probably the most like comic book wise, the most useless thing in the world is Spawn's red cape.
Oh, okay.
It's obnoxious. Have you looked at it? It is legitimately the most obnoxious costume I've ever part of his costume.
No capes, a la Edna Mole.
No, 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 no.
No capes.
No, I'm gonna have cape. Cape's fine.
No capes. According to Edna, no capes. If you watch The Incredibles.
That's my supervillain cartoon, not Edna's.
Okay,
But
good. So you get me. All right. No capes.
so here's the deal: obnoxious spawn like red cape,
Uh-huh.
and I hire a minion to carry it.
Oh, right.
So they
Okay.
put it down. So they put it down when I want to look cool, because that's the thing. It does look cool. That's the one advantage it does have,
It
right?
does. But then you get caught in a jet like syndrome or
Or you're something, right? It can go bad, but if you have a minion carrying it for you and you're
okay.
paying them well,
Now, are we talking Despicable Me minions or normal minions?
normal minions. No.
Okay.
No, Despicable Me minions. Eh. No, normal people. Because seriously, if you're a
Mhm.
normal person, here's your job. This obnoxiously rich asshole is paying me stupid piles of money to lift this red cape so he doesn't trip.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound fun. I don't wanna go around even for millions of dollars just carrying your cape, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who would appreciate that.
So you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't
Yeah,
do it,
you'd find the
but
right minion.
you find the right minion, they get
Yeah.
exposure. They get exposure. They get that like in there. The only thing I will not do is talk about myself in the third person.
Oh, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I won't go that far.
So, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Um, MCU? Yay, nay?
Movies?
Yeah.
Right now, nay.
Okay, why?
I'm tired of them. And
Oh.
I say it like this. Like I enjoyed everything up to Avengers Endgame. I thought it was a really, really good send off.
Mhm,
And I've seen a couple since. I've actually started seeing them again.
mhm.
Spider-Man looks fun. Guardians 3 I really enjoyed.
I haven't
Uh
seen Guardians 3 yet, don't spoil it for
I
me.
won't
I don't
swear
know why.
I won't. But the thing is, what I've noticed with a lot of the ones post Infinity, like Endgame,
Mhm.
they don't have the tension and substance the other movies earlier did.
Do you wanna know what pisses me off to no end, where I could get onto my soapbox?
Go ahead.
What the fuck they did to Scarlet Witch, and what
That
they
does.
did with her character at the end of Doctor Strange
I haven't seen the
pisses
end of
me
it.
off.
I haven't seen the end of Doctor Strange, but that's it's okay. You can spoil it for me. I don't care.
I
Um,
just in general, like, especially when Wanda had her own show, it was extremely fascinating to finally be able to see the trauma that these heroes have gone through, the losses that they've had to endure, the fact that she realizes that she had trapped these people in her dome of whatever. She gave up her children and Vision yet again to try to do the right thing. But then they entered in Doctor Strange in that movie, and now all of a sudden, they have to give that shitty ass line of, "I'm not a monster. I'm a mother." Like, what? No, I'm sorry, but moms are not like no. It's
oh
not that doesn't give you carte blanche permission to do the things that she was doing. And I can't stand it where it's like, no, motherhood is what gave her the permission to go psycho and villain.
well, okay. See, I'm weird on this one because comic book
Uh-huh.
wise, something similar like this happened in the comics. Not quite the same thing, but similar. She
I mean, I
lost.
know about the dark hold, but
No. Let me go. Let me go, and we can come back to you because I I get kind of where you're coming from, but here, okay, so just purely, we're gonna try to rationalize this a little bit, not completely, but a little bit.
uh-huh.
So Wanda is stupid powerful, like
Uh-huh.
stupid powerful, right?
Yes.
Very few. There are a handful of characters that can keep her in check.
Mhm.
Okay, she alters reality. like crazy strong power, right?
Uh-huh.
Crazy strong power. And she could do nothing to stop the Vision dying.
Mhm.
She disappeared for like 5 years,
Mhm.
right? She comes back. Everything's the same. Everything's not the same. People that she respected are dead.
Mhm.
She goes off and comes up with this family to grieve, partly to grieve because Vision's
Mhm.
legitimately dead,
Right.
right? So that's what this is about. So she's grieving, and in that grief, she creates a family. Like the progression is she creates another life for herself, essentially. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, this was not really her fault, not intentionally her fault anyway.
Mhm.
She accidentally traps people in this little dome of whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
So she does the right thing again. Now she lets go of everything
Mhm.
and lets these people go because it's the right thing to do. She's
Mhm.
utterly alone with this crazy power. And she literally lost Vision twice. Now
Mhm.
she's got kids she's mourning
Yep.
on top of that.
Yep.
And she still hasn't really dealt with the losses she suffered during what. And now, here's the even add to that little add to that twist. She's kind of lost because she's altered reality so much. What is real to Wanda? Like, I mean,
Mm.
on like a legitimate, honest question could be asked there. For her, her sense of reality was had to have been warped. Okay,
I get that. But
so
I would've I wanted to see her come through.
no, and the thing is,
Mhm.
in a weird way, that door hasn't fully closed. Right? There is a way for her to come through in a weird way because again, what is real with the Scarlet Witch? You have an auto out there if you want it. I'm not
So
saying you take it. It's not saying you take it, but you have it, right?
so I've been praying that maybe we'll get her back somehow, some way, but Marvel confirmed that she's gone and
For
she
now.
exited in Doctor Strange.
And you know what? That also could be that again. Sometimes it's actresses and their contracts and so. And listen, she may not want to work for Disney anymore, and that's fair. In all fairness, that's fair.
Mhm.
Okay. That's I can't that part of it, that's another can of
Yep.
worms we're not talking about here.
Right.
Um, but but again, if we're talking about it strictly from the point of view of how this could happen, there's a
Mhm.
pathway they definitely painted there.
There is a pathway. I'm not saying that pathway didn't exist. It was just it felt like by the time she got to Doctor Strange, she became a two-dimensional character that was like,
Sure.
"Nope, I'm just crazy and this is it and I'm a mom and it's okay." And I was like,
But but but
like she was
but
just so
again,
complicated, multifaceted before that, and she just
oh
felt
sure.
very
But you can
flat
make that
villain.
argument. Okay, so for me, Thor, the last Thor movie was very similar. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I love the idea of Jane Foster's Thor. It's a neat
Yes.
concept. The comic was a great. By the way, the comic was really great, and the cancer thing was in the
Mm,
comic too.
yep.
But I thought both the comic and the movie missed on something really, 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 really potent here. They should have established the price of her power sooner than they did, because
Mm.
what it would have done is it would have done something in Thor that did not exist until the very end of the movie, which was the tension. There was no tension in that movie ever. I didn't think that Darth was going to be a threat, right?
Right.
He wasn't a threat at all. I didn't think so. I didn't
Right.
really think so.
Uh,
Now, what if you mention the fact that okay, you establish that together they can beat this guy? That's fine. That the audience expects that.
mhm.
So here's what you do. But every time that happens, now you see her back in her human form, vulnerable, frail, dying. That's interesting for both Thor and Jane.
Mhm.
That's a much more interesting story you could have told, right? And
I
it's
wish we
not
had seen more of that too. I agree.
well, yeah, because that see at that point you create real tension,
Mhm.
right? Is Jane going to sacrifice herself for this? Is it worth it for her to sacrifice herself for this? You can ask
Mhm.
some real potent. And here's the other thing: when she's her version of Thor, she doesn't feel any of that stuff. That pain
Mhm.
is gone. I mean, wouldn't you want to have? There's some, like I said, there's some amazing little things that you could have taken the time to really talk about,
Mhm.
and it would have been a great story, a better story than what was told. And this has been Marvel since Endgame. They have been afraid to put the tension. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is an exception. It completes the story started in 1 and 2. And it feels like there's a genuine story, a bit of a genuine risk. Not so much, not gonna lie, the conflict doesn't really feel like a risk. But the story you get is incredibly touching. Right?
Mm.
It's something. There are stakes. You care what happens to the characters. There are things you genuinely wonder about, and it's a decent. If they never do another Guardians movie again, it's a good way to end it. Like
Mm.
that's all I'm gonna say. It does all those things well. Now there are people that complain about some things in there, and that's fine. But at least it's uncomfortable. At least it has tension. Yes, there's some shocking moments. There's some sad moments, but it's true to the story they're telling.
Mm.
And Guardians is the only movie I can think of that's doing that right now.
Spider-Man
So,
3.
to a point, that kind of
Really?
was a
I was so
to,
devastated with Spider-Man 3.
yeah, but they were but that was also a beginning because they've established this whole multiversal kind of thing, right?
Mm.
So Spider-Man is the one with the most potential going forward. If you look at the rest of them, like just honest to God, the rest of them, there's no stakes, there's no tension, there's no growth. I don't mind having fun. If I like Thor was supposed to be a fun movie, and it does
Mhm.
succeed as a fun movie.
Mhm.
But when I look at all of the Marvel stuff right now, and it's also partially too. There's been so many Marvel movies. This is the other
Yes.
lot. That's the other thing too. There's been so many Marvel movies that the formula is kind of in everybody's head. They need
Mm.
to kind of sit down and kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit
Yeah.
because they've hit a point where people kind of expect what's going to happen. Now, I haven't seen all of them either. I haven't seen the third Ant-Man movie. I haven't seen some of the other ones, and I'm not sure I'm going to because I
Mm.
don't feel like I'm missing anything at this point in time. And
Interesting.
yeah, because again, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I like a good superhero story, but I also the thing of this is also the after effect of Avengers and like Endgame. That took 20 movies to set up. And I
Mhm.
was along for the ride the whole way, and it was fun. And the ending was awesome. Like the
Yes.
ending was so worth the journey. But then I sat there and thought about this, okay? I put 60 hours of my life into that movie.
Yes.
That's a lot of time for a story.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I want to do that again. So I
Hmm.
don't think they're wrong kind of letting everything kind of develop on its own. What I wish they did was add some of the tension and stakes that were in like the first ones. But also just, if you're going to do that, right? If you're going to want me to invest in some kind of bigger story at some point down the road, then it has to then you're gonna have to okay. I mean, Ant-Man has some of the same beats. Like they all have certain similar beats in all of these movies about how the heroes come together and fight.
Yep.
I I get it, it's a superhero movie, it's part of the tropes to some degree,
Mhm.
but I want something. I need something a little. So right now, Invincible from Amazon excites me more than anything. And
Mm.
Robert Kirkman's Invincible is a really
Yeah,
good
I don't know.
series.
Okay.
Yeah, that excites me a lot more than anything Marvel's doing right now.
Mm.
Um,
I've been
you know,
watching every single one of their TV shows,
I
including Mandalorian, Ahsoka, so also the Star Wars
well,
shows.
and that's the other thing too. Like again, for me, I don't
Mhm.
usually creatively, I don't have the time. Like I would rather do a video game than a television show.
Right.
at this point. Or if I'm doing a television show, one with a start and finish, like I like a very finite, right?
Mhm.
Um, this is also from the guy that's watching Fairy Tale right now, so I don't know how true that is. But
Mhm.
at this point in my life, I'm not investing in stories I don't feel a real connection to.
Mhm.
And I haven't felt a real connection to the MCU in a while. And I don't, at this point in the ball game, I don't miss it.
Okay.
And that's in part because, again, too much. I think there's just a little too much of it. That's one. So the really good ones, I would say it's Spider-Man, Guardians are the
Mhm.
really two really good ones of the post thing.
Mhm.
You have good ones, you have okay ones. Doctor Strange, in spite of whatever you may think of the what happened to Scarlet Witch, is not a terrible second movie. Come on, you gotta admit the way she killed everybody was really interesting. Like they actually did some really good stuff in there. Okay, all right. I
Mm,
I I,
yeah.
I I know you care about. I know, but also I'm also coming from this. I've stayed away from all the television. Like I don't watch WandaVision. I don't watch. So for me, I don't have the same investment on the character you do, and that's neither a good or a bad thing. It's just that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I can look at the movie in its own context and go, okay, it's okay. But again, am I rushing to see another Doctor Strange? No.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
Right. That's kind of where I am with the MCU is I'm in no rush to see any like there was a time when the MCU movies came out, everybody would be excited to see them.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
don't get that excitement is like part of it is because it's been around forever too. Like it's been
Mhm.
around for a long time, but part of it is they have again the one thing they've dropped the ball creatively on is I don't have. I knew the stakes Thanos. I knew what Thanos was going to do to them, and I was looking forward to that inevitable confrontation where Thanos hands them their ass. That was coming from the moment you saw him in Avengers. You knew
Uh-huh.
it was coming,
Yep.
right? And the journey to get there, they teased us in a lot of ways, but they built it and they built it and they built it and they built it, and all the while they let all these characters grow, develop, and change, right? And there's some great like the original Black Panther movie is amazing. The Thor Ragnarok was a great like
Yes.
right? The first Spider-Man movie was solid. Iron
Yeah.
Man 1 was amazing. Iron Man 2 is okay. 3, I like 3 over 2. That's just me,
I
right?
agree,
Right.
actually. Thank you.
Yeah. I prefer 3 to 2. Right. I like Captain America, like both those first two movies are incredible. Civil War
Civil War.
and
I loved Civil War, but okay.
Civil War secretly an Avengers movie. It was better than Avengers 2. It was
It
secretly
was
an
totally
Avengers movie.
Avengers. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I but the first two Captain America movies are phenomenal. I actually think Captain America, both with the Winter Soldier, is the best thing Marvel's ever done.
That's really
Okay.
cool.
You're right.
Secret Invasion, I know you said you didn't watch any of the TV shows, but Nick Fury's Secret Invasion series was amazing, and I'm excited for the movie that's gonna result from that.
Well, at least Skrulls. So
Mhm.
yeah, okay. So yeah, I have an idea what to expect there, but again, I'm at the moment I don't I'm not
I get
excited
it.
about
I only
it.
get 1
Yeah.
show a week, and so a lot of the times it's just been lining up where it's been,
No, it's
in
fine. No,
between,
no, it's
like
fine.
yeah.
Like I said, so I mean, the superhero stuff I'm watching right now
Mhm.
is Invincible, the cartoon,
Mhm.
which is really cool. It imagine it's everything you love about superheroes, but a very fresh take on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, The Boys. I so The Boys is dark shit, but it's
Yes, it is.
also very the show is better than the comic. I
Mm,
have openly said this. The show is better than the comic. It's a
interesting.
fantastic show. Um, Harley Quinn for the DC universe. It's just genuinely fun.
Is that
Genuinely
Birds of
fun.
Prey?
What?
Birds of
No,
Prey.
no. So Harley Quinn has an HBO cartoon. Okay,
Oh, I didn't know that.
okay. It's it's hilariously funny.
Mm.
It's funny, but it's poignant. It's Harley's kind of redemption story arc kind of deal to some degree.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. She's a
but
very fascinating character.
she okay. they keep her true to who she is, but what makes this really interesting is how it humanizes the DCU in a way you never imagined. And
Mm.
my favorite two characters, ironically, in there are Joker and Bane.
Oh, interesting.
Joker is the classic villain in season 1, but season 2 and 3, he's far and away so interesting.
Hmm. Mark Hamill again?
No,
Oh, interesting.
no, but it's really good, and
Okay.
you'll laugh at the jokes. But Bane, for comedic purposes, Bane's my favorite. They kept the Tom Hardy voice in, right?
Hmm.
And he's the one guy. He's literally the one guy that can kick Batman's ass, but everybody makes fun of him, and
Oh,
it's gold. It's funny. It is legitimately. He actually talks in the voice. Like you heard from the original Batman, like they kept that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's funny,
and
so
that's
funny."
Harley Quinn. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so that one. It's the DC universe. You remember, but it's different. It's humorous. It's funny. It is such an interest, and all the characters have such interesting takes on them.
Mm.
Poison Ivy is one. I'm not spoiling anything. Poison Ivy is one of the coolest characters in the series.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Kite Man, of all people, Kite Man is so interesting and
Right.
actually fun. Um, I love the take on Superman in there. Right?
Okay,
It's
so
just
now I'm curious. What genre do you write for with your books?
YA, science fiction,
Okay.
and fantasy.
Okay. Also, gosh darn it. I'm sick. It is dawning on me. I'm not cutting our conversation off, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, yep, my son, he passed his cold to me.
So, would you like a real quick way to attack your cold that doesn't
Yes.
require drugs? So,
Oh
what are you
my
feeling?
God.
So, what are you feeling? What are your symptoms right now?
My throat has gotten progressively scratchier, no matter how
Okay.
much water I drink, and I talk regularly, so that's not an issue for me. Um, and now my nose is running. It
Okay.
literally just started running like a minute ago.
So we're going to do something very old school here. When this is right, here's
Mhm.
here's here's what you're going to do.
Okay.
Do you have peppermint?
No,
You should.
but you're right. It clears up.
And not only does it clear out the sinuses, so there's a couple ways to attack your throat. There's a
Uh
couple
huh.
ways. So one way to do it is if you've got a lemon at home, you got lemon or citrusy thing. You
Uh
take the
huh.
citrus, put it in water, drink. Another way you could do it: take vitamin C, take like a
Hmm.
straight up vitamin C pill, suck on it. The digestive system starts
Oh.
at the tongue, so you actually can actually break it down a little bit now. Now, obviously, you're not going to do that while we're talking, but when this is
No.
over, but you're right. When this is over, suck. If you have a citrus like fruit, like
Yeah.
lemon water. Like make a hot tea. Put some lemon
Mm.
in it. That's a good way of doing it. Lemon,
Love
honey,
that.
like old school stuff, right? Don't
Yeah.
don't right. If you got peppermint, heck, if you do it right, if you smell the peppermint, sometimes it can pull the sinus thing out.
Really?
Sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you take peppermint essential oil and you got a sinus infection and you put it
Yeah.
under the nose, sometimes
Yeah.
it'll pull the infection right out of you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
some
just like, gosh darn it. I'm sitting here and I'm like, we're having a great conversation. And my kid has been coughing in my face for the last week. And I'm like, that's it. That's like the stamp or the gavel just came down. You are sitting down, mom. And I'm like, great. This is gonna be great. This is supposed to be my
yeah.
week where I'm finally gonna relax.
Well, but
Like I've
see,
got my
if
kid.
you do the stuff I'm telling you now, right? You can still relax. You might need a rest day tomorrow, but
Uh-huh.
you can but you can relax.
I'll have to run out tomorrow to go get a vitamin C
Yeah.
tablet pill thing.
Well,
Yeah.
if you got you got something citrusy like a lemon, like make yourself some hot teas, drink some fluids
Yeah.
that way, clear it out.
I'm
Keep it
definitely gonna get
simple,
tea.
right?
Like, god darn it.
And
Like,
if you
come
want,
on.
you want to give yourself a little bit of extra self care. If you want to give yourself like hot bath,
Mm.
put a little white vinegar in the hot bath.
Oh,
Yeah, heat it
interesting.
really gets hot. Yeah, little things you can
Yeah.
do.
Cool.
But anyway, I'm not. I'm like I said, we have gone for nearly 2 hours.
We have. I was
Yeah,
like that's why I was like, I love the premise of your show, as I told you, because I love geeking out. I can go anywhere from
yeah.
oh, and I was asking you about your genres. So my genre is fantasy. I was just we were
Yeah.
having such a great conversation about superheroes and whatnot. That's where I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm a big comic book guy. I've been reading since I was 8 years old, and
Mhm,
so I know, like, I'm the guy, like, I can literally read a comic now, like, some of
mhm,
them cannot surprise me anymore. Green Lantern is not a surprise very much to me anymore because there's really
mhm.
only I've seen practically any way you can go with it. Now,
Yeah.
it's my lifelong thing, so it's like that's my, like, little, like, but that's the thing. I've done this for so
X-Men,
long.
baby. Yep.
That's right. We all have it. That's
Mhm.
mine. So I've hit that point. So since I've hit that point, right, I can look at something honestly and constructively and go, okay, for me, I want good stories that I can digest relatively easily. I don't
Mm.
want crossovers. I crossovers are great in theory, but truth of the matter is, unless it's once in a while, they're awesome. Keep it
Age of
once in a while.
Apocalypse. Very cool crossover.
Yeah. Now, then that one's your baby of choice, right? So, I
Right.
mean, right. I love the alternative universe Nate Gray X Man. He's my favorite
Mm.
from that. But,
Okay.
um, but all of which to say, right? That's what I want. So when I go to a comic shop, I don't want anything. That's why I don't want to touch X Men or Batman or
I get
anything
it.
like that because there's too much of that, right? I
I hear
don't
ya.
want that. I don't want that. I
I
want
feel overwhelmed with
a
it now.
Yeah, well, I want a good story. Like the best comics right now I'm reading are Once Upon a Time at the End of the World,
Oh.
Saga. They're not superhero books. Like they're right.
Mhm,
they're just the fun ones. Once
mhm,
Upon a Time, Saga. I'm enjoying No One right now. No slash
mm.
one. Right now, I'm also reading Gargoyles and Darkwing Duck and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I am still
I loved
cool.
gargoyles.
Right
I
now,
love gargoyles.
oh yeah, there's some great shit right now in
Of
like
course,
Dynamite books.
Darkwing Duck, yes, but, like, oh god, I love gargoyles. I
What?
wanted Elisa, Mazda, and Goliath to get
Yeah,
together so badly.
they do. In
Yeah,
X-Men
they do.
comics,
Oh,
they
in the
do.
comics,
So,
you actually get to see it?
yeah.
Oh my god, I would have 20
Yeah,
million
and in
questions
the
about how
cartoon, they do too. They
they
do
do
in
at
the
the very
cartoon.
end, she finally kisses him. The very
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all of which to say, right? I have some nostalgia stuff, but they're
Mhm.
all by and large one and dones.
Mm.
I'm not trying to really, like, really go beyond. Now, sometimes, like, I'll read 2 comics a month about a universe. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my worst one because there's a lot of usually because there's turtles they go good with everything. I mean, they literally go good with everything. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things crossover right now. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman. Now the exception to the Batman thing, they did a Batman TM and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover.
Oh.
That that ruled. That genuinely ruled. That was so good. And they did 3 of them, and they were like, so Fonda Lee of author Fonda Lee, she's a
Mhm.
big martial arts fan, and we talked, and I'm the one that actually pointed out to her that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman was a crossover. She's like, "Wait, they did a crossover?" And I just gave her the Amazon link and left. It's like
Oh.
I enabled Fonda Lee on that. That's my story with her. It's a fun one, but that's the thing, right? Like, there's like it goes good with everything. So that one's one where I kind of goes a little haywire every so often. But for the most part, it's 1 or 2 books, and then for the rest of it, like I'm reading these individually really good stories,
Good.
and actually the best. I will say this: the one since you like fantasy, since you probably like reading fantasy too. Coda is a comic from Boom Studios.
I've heard of Coda.
It's good. It's a bet. So the first volume,
Uh-huh.
It's about a scribe, and it's really it's a relationship book ultimately, but it's
Oh,
a good
sweet.
one.
'Cause
No,
mine's a
but
romantasy, so you know that I'm gonna like romantasies, right?
Yeah, no, that so you'll like that one or Once Upon a Time at the End of the World.
Oh, okay.
It's the Once Upon a Time at the End of the World's a love story. So we went in. So the first 5 issues of Once Upon a Time are the best things I've read this year.
I'm looking them up.
The second 5 are kind of the psychedelic ones. They're definitely not for kids. Um, but yeah,
Once upon
a
a
time at the end of the world.
at the End of the. Oh yeah, there we go. Volume 1.
Yep, and that's a really good one. Like
Ooh, cool.
that book's phenomenal.
I'm adding it to my favorite list right now.
That
I'm
book's
like, I'm
phenomenal.
not passing this up. You're telling me these things, and I'm like, I want to view
So
your list.
there's that,
Good.
and then the other one's Coda. You'll
Is
like
that with
Coda.
a K or a C?
CODA, same company.
Coda graphic novel. I was like, I know I've heard of that. I don't remember
Simon
why.
Spurrier's the writer. Very good stuff.
Coda Volume 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
I
you
was
want.
super excited when I got to watch the sequel to Inuyasha, Himeyasha or whatever it was
Oh,
called.
really cool. I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one yet.
I loved being able to see Kagome and Inuyasha's daughter's story. That was really cool.
Nice.
Um, so my happy place. There we go. Okay.
You're welcome.
I was just like, no, I'm not going to forget that. I'm putting it in there now.
Yeah, I should pitch my stuff while since you're in the favorites like mood. So I did an epic poetry about Alice in Wonderland, and I matched her up with Greek mythology. I made her Pandora.
Oh, that's really cool. What's that one?
Alice Zero. Just look at my
Alice
name.
0.
Just look at my name. You'll find it.
You want to know my premise for my book?
Yeah, we're gonna come to the end. We're coming to the end of this conversation. So we're gonna want to pitch everything here.
Right? Cool. All right, add it to my list. Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just figured you might like it. It's epic poetry, but it's Alice opening Pandora's box. I figured you might enjoy that.
Yes. That's really cool. Also cool
Yeah.
graphics.
Yes. Kenzie Katz, ladies and gentlemen, or formerly Kenzie Carr. She's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Okay. So how do you want to wrap it up? What's your deal?
So what would you like to promote?
Oh my goodness.
We're going back to that now.
Right? So here's the thing, right? Like you're always told just one. What do you want to promote? Like no more, because then it overwhelms people. And it's like, but I'm a writer and an editor and
No. You can do so. Here's the thing.
You're saying 2?
I can say you could do 2, but here's how I'm gonna make. We're gonna play a little game about this. Okay.
Okay.
The most important thing is last.
Okay.
Okay. The other one can be whatever you want, but the
Okay.
most important one's last.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
All right. Yes. So I would say anybody who is interested in writing to open up their podcast app and search for Parents Who Write and come find me and hang out with me as I with other parents who write. And obviously you don't have to be a parent if you we talk about writing primarily. Yes, we do talk about our kids at times, but the show oscillates between me chatting with other writers and also me giving some editing tips that I have picked up over the 15 years that I have been doing this thing, which I do genuinely love. So I'm glad to share my enthusiasm there.
Does
So
it have
that's
a
Parents Who
webpage?
Write. It does, parentswhowrite.com.
All right. So like this. Hold on a second here.
Yeah, parentswhowrite.com.
Okay.
That's
All right.
it.
And so what's the other thing?
The other one is my book. If you're interested in a fantasy with a blend, or if you're interested in a blend of fantasy, adventure, and romance, then my book Ruins and Redemption is out. Book 2, I am aiming for a end of January, early February release. 2024, not 25 or 26, but 2024. And it's about an anthropologist who unintentionally travels to another world and has to use her skills to bridge the cultural gap between elves and humans.
She's secretly an M crown crystal.
No, she is not secretly an M-Cron crystal.
Okay.
There is a hidden destiny, a hidden path in there as well.
Cool.
The fun fantasy tropes.
So is there a site or a place where it's for sale?
Yeah, you can get it on where all books are sold.
Do you have a webpage?
I do. It's Erin PT Canning.com.
So how is this? So the way we'll end this wonderful little conversation here is, so if anybody wants to check out her works and get to know Erin a little bit better, check out Runes and Redemption, or check out her podcast, Parents Who Write. Check out her website at erinptcanning.com. How'd I do?
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
No worries.
It's been
And
a
folks,
super fun conversation.
well, thank you. I try. I try. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode. Just Josh, and I do have another one later on in the week. I have been in deadline hell, so I'm hoping next week to get back to some kind of normalcy for the podcast again. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I might get more work and be bombarded some more. I always knew like after 1,000 until I hit the road, this would be a little bit more irregular, but I still somehow ended up doing 20. I'm at 1,024 right now. So I guess what the fuck do I know? But for everybody watching, anybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.